Good morning. I'm starting the video a little earlier than anticipated. So if you're joining in, this is Chill Your Yin practice. I'm Christine. I am going to guide you through this. Good morning. I'm going to guide you through this fusion of yin with restorative, okay? So wanted to start the video early just to let you know that I have a little setup here. I wanted to share that with you. So different perspective in today's video. So you have your mat lengthwise. If you have a bolster, have your bolster set up lengthwise with a block underneath at the medium height toward the far end of the bolster, so it's on an incline. And have a couple blankets or thick towels available. If you have a strap, make sure you have that nice and handy. And if you do not have a bolster, you can actually take a couple of thick blankets and fold them so that they're lengthwise, so maybe 2 or 3 blankets. You have them piled up. And so when they're all piled up, they're about the height of a bolster, okay? So that's what you can, we're going to actually use this morning, okay? So I'm going to put a couple blankets so that they're within reaching distance. And I'm going to have my strap handy dandy. And I'm going to go ahead and start the music. So I would like for you to go ahead and set your bottom up against the closest edge of the bolster to the top. Go ahead and set your bottom up against the bolster or your blankets, and go ahead and lie back on your bolster with your legs bent. And feet to the mat. So we're going to start in Supta Baddha Konasana, which is a reclined cobbler's pose. So you're going to take your feet. So again, I said to have the base of your spine up against the bolster or the blankets. Let's bring our feet together. And if you have a strap, go ahead and make a big loop, okay? Nice big loop. And you're going to pull the loop with the buckle closer to the front. Pull the loop behind you. Make sure the loop is straight behind your underwear line, your panty line, if you will. And then draw the loop around your feet, okay? So your feet are together. Adjust the buckle so that it is not going to hit the skin, if you will, and bother you. And then go ahead and make it nice and tight. So you want to keep your feet in toward your groins to create this support. If you don't have a strap, no worries. You didn't have to go through all of this. I just like this because this really allows you to be in the position and really relax the legs out with the feet moving toward the groins. Okay, so I'm nice and tight here. I'm going to take a nice inhalation, and on my exhalation, I'll lay back. And you'll take a couple of your blankets, one on each side, and you're just gonna kind of put some support underneath the legs so that they're able to just drape into the blankets, and then go ahead and fold another blanket as your pillow. So you'll put that under your neck. Oh wow. Then you'll take your shoulders, move your shoulders toward your waist, roll the upper arms from the inside out, and allow the chest to be nice and open, the palms facing up, the chin dips toward the chest. And let's take some moments to just settle into this first asana. Scanning the body. If during your scan you find a few spots that are gripping or tight, they're not releasing, just use your breath to take your inhalation to those places to create space and permission. And on your exhalation, just imagine those spaces, surrendering, letting go, relaxing. It's a great idea to always dress in layers for a yin class. I usually like to dress warmer than I would for a vinyasa class, and that's just to keep the body nice and warm. When we get into a couple of the other more heat producing, if you will, yin poses, asanas, you might get a little warmer and then you could peel a layer off. But for some of the restorative poses, I like to be warm in my body, even with socks on. As you can tell, I have my socks on today. It's very chilly in my home. So with the chest nice and open here, from the assistance of that beautiful bolster or blankets you have underneath you, really connect with the breath in that open space. So with your eyes closed, imagine your breastbone being the body of a butterfly. As you inhale, your ribs, your side ribs, your upper chest or the wings just opening up so beautifully. And on the exhalation, your beautiful butterfly wings begin to close a bit. And that would be your chest falling into the bolster below. And let's take several deep breaths, just imagining the butterfly and the inhalation, the wings opening and expanding. And on our exhalation, slowly and softly, the butterfly wings begin to close. Take your attention now to your knees. So right where the actual knee bone is, the patella, and moving up along the thigh bone, and now also taking into your observation the inner thighs, moving all the way from the very middle of the body out toward the inside of the knee. Imagine as you breathe with each exhalation, the inner thighs and all of that space just begins to soften with every exhalation, deepening into relaxation, letting go, if you will. Check in with your face. Are you softening your cheeks and your eyes and your eyebrows and forehead? Is your jaw nice and soft? And in this practice, generally speaking, in our cardio and our workouts, and even in our yoga practice, we tend to work a lot. When we're working in different asanas, we work different muscles. However, in this yin restorative practice, your job today is to sink into these poses and find that point of relaxation. Where the only effort you are putting in today into this practice is just the awareness and the focus of the breath, moving to places to just help relax those tight, tense spots, using your beautiful, unique breath. Let's take an inhalation and let's draw the arms up and over. And as if you're at the beach, go ahead and interlace the fingers, and you can bring the elbows out to the side. And even though we brought our arms overhead and we have this nice opening of the armpits even more now with the elbows bent and out to the side, see if you can still continue to just soften your shoulders so that they're not moving up into the ears. And we'll take a few deep breaths here. Feeling the sensation of all that openness and how it changes the depth of our breath and how we can breathe. And just explore that with your breath, deepening your breath, breathing into the spaces that are open for you right now. Maybe your upper shoulders towards your armpits feel a little more open. Maybe that space by your breastbone feels beautifully open. Just explore your breath here, your practice. And if you're finding a little bit of discomfort slightly in the low back, just try to release your navel down toward the back body. Okay, so just pulling the belly button in ever so gently, not forcefully. And just keeping it there as you breathe. And take a nice inhalation. On your exhalation, go ahead and bring the arms alongside the body. Take the hands to the outsides of the thighs. And go ahead, bend the elbows, draw yourself up, and then Bring your arms alongside you, the hands on the mat. Draw the chest up. And let's just pause here for a moment. Have the hands behind you. And just take a little breath here. And then we'll gently release the strap. Allow the knees to move towards center using the hands. Always use the hands to assist if you can. All right, we'll move the belt to the side, and we will take our blankets and move a couple blankets from one side to the other. Okay, and we will release our bolster for now. Bolsters are actually a great thing to have for your home practice, and I will tell you the cheapest I have found a square bolster, rectangular, actually I should say, believe it or not, is I hate to say it, but Walmart.com, they actually had the cheapest bolsters. So if you do have a home practice, they're definitely a good investment. So I'm going to take my socks off at this point. We're going to move into Supta Padangusthasana 1 and 2. And that's reclined hand-foot pose. So let's go ahead and bend our knees. And bring the feet to the mat. We're lying back on our back. And we'll start with releasing the legs into straight now. So now you're in this Shavasana, if you will, for a moment. And let's just close our eyes for just a couple breaths and take these 2 breaths to scan the body, feeling any sensation, checking in with the low body for now. So from your hips all the way down, just feeling where we are today. And then we'll go ahead and take a nice inhalation. On our exhalation, we'll take the right knee toward the chest and keep the foot relaxed, keep the left leg relaxed. Encourage the collarbones to be a bit open just by gently allowing the shoulder blades to release into the mat. Couple breaths here, feeling what's happening in our low back today, and maybe in what's happening with our right leg and hip. And then we'll take a nice deep inhalation. We'll grab our strap, and we'll take the strap and put the strap onto the ball mounds of the foot. Now, if you don't have a strap, maybe your husband has a tie, and you can pause the video right now and go grab a tie. If not, and you just don't want to use a prop today, just, don't use a prop. You'll just do this exercise without a prop. You take a nice deep inhalation, and on your exhalation, go ahead and release the foot. Your right leg toward the ceiling. You'll have your right foot flexed back toward your face. Now shift the hips to make sure that both sits bones are on the mat. And in this particular pose, again, relax the left leg. And the only work you're doing here is just holding the strap and allowing the heel to move up toward the ceiling. Keep breathing. If you feel like you're death gripping your strap or your tie, release your hands lower to your body, bend your elbows, and allow your collarbones to be straight. And just enjoy this Supta Padangusthasana 1. If you're just watching this video and not practicing yet, you'll see me checking my watch, and it's just to time these asanas because we hold the poses for several minutes. So I'm definitely not checking texts or emails because I don't even have an Apple Watch. Not interested. And that's no judgment on anyone else. I just know that for me, it allows me to not become attached to that device. So while you're here, again, we're finding those spaces that are tight in this particular right leg. And now that we've been here for a little bit, maybe, just maybe, you can begin to move your right thigh toward your chest in a little micro movement without lifting your right sits bone off the mat. Okay, so just check in. Breathe. Allow yourself the luxury of breathing in your practice today. This is where you get to practice your breath. As we inhale, we create space into the tight and tense places. As we exhale, we encourage those tight and tense spaces to soften and relax. All right, let's go ahead and take a nice deep inhalation. Take both pieces of the strap with the right hand. Take your left arm out to a T from the shoulder, a half of a T, yes? Take a nice deep inhalation, and on your exhalation, begin to draw your right leg out to the right side. Rest your upper arm and elbow on the mat and work to really keep your left hip and left shoulder on the mat, and then using blankets or a block or towels or whatever you may have in your practice today, go ahead and allow the leg to come out to the side and just rest. Relax there. Again, the only work you're doing here is just holding the strap, but not really, again, death gripping your strap. Inhale here. Exhale, keep the left hip, left shoulder moving into the mat. Feel the opening as you breathe. Feel the opening of the right inner thigh, moving all the way through the inside of the knee, down to the calf. Your right foot is still flexed so that you can continue to get a calf and Achilles stretch here too. Check in with your left leg. Make sure you're relaxing it. Check in with your face. Are you relaxing your face? And most importantly, breathe. I love Yin because you're in these asanas for enough time to really feel the pose. feel your body. Explore the feeling of your body. And do what we often have a tough time doing the most of our life, which is letting go, surrendering, relaxing. And if your mind begins to wander during this practice, just always take your attention to your breath. All right, we're going to take a nice inhalation, and on our exhalation, we're going to softly, slowly begin to bring the right leg up to center. We'll pause here for a moment. Grab both pieces of the strap with the left hand, bring the right arm out to the right side. And then I like to bend my left leg with my foot on the mat, press into my left foot, turn my hips and stack them to the left. So now my left hip is on the bottom, my right hip is on the top. And then I draw my right leg over to the left for Supta Padangusthasana 3. Okay, make sure you have blocks, blankets, towels on that left side to rest the foot. And now your right shoulder is still releasing into the mat. So you have this nice, not only nice opening of the right hip and right side of the thigh, the knee, the calf, but you also have this lovely twisting action and movement and opening from the right armpit moving all the way down the waistline. Relax the left leg, even though you have the hips stacked. Just relax that left leg, and it may bend a little bit. That's cool. And just as before, the only work you're doing here is holding the strap, the left hand holding the strap pieces. And I like to still keep my foot flexed. You can relax your foot if that feels super delicious and yummy for you today. Try not to keep your right shoulder moving into your right ear. Check in with your whole right side of your body, from your armpit down to your right outer hip, moving all the way down the right leg to the right foot. Find those spaces that are tight and just encourage complete relaxation. And most importantly, breathe. Use the breath as your tool to allow yourself to relax and deepen into each asana. Inhaling space and nutrients to those spaces that are tight, tense, maybe even injured if you have an injury. And on your exhalation, release the injury, release the tense and the tightness. And take a nice deep inhalation, and on your exhalation begin to roll back onto your back, lifting the right leg up. Bend that left leg and place your hips straight onto your mat. Bend the right knee, bring it into the chest for a moment, and then exhale, release both legs into extension. So straight legs, come into a mini shavasana here for a moment, and just connect with the lower half. Bring your observation with your eyes closed, with the legs completely relaxed. See what you feel. I should say feel what you feel, right? Noticing any difference between the left side and the right. Take a nice deep inhalation. On your exhalation, draw your left knee to your chest. Allow the collarbones to be nice and wide. Relax the right leg, the left foot. A couple breaths here, just feeling the low back, moving into the mat. Feeling the left buttock, the left outer hip, what you feel here as we start the left leg. And then take a nice deep inhalation. On your exhalation, you'll have your strap placed around the ball mound of the left foot. And you'll begin to again extend now the left leg toward the ceiling, reaching with your heel. Flex the left foot back toward the face. Relax the right leg. And now go ahead and relax, believe it or not, relax the left leg. The only thing that is working is really your flexed foot. And now your strap is moving into your, applying pressure to the bottom of that left flexed foot. Allow your chest to be nice and open to breathe, just by gently releasing your shoulder blades into the surface below. Again, on this Supta Padangusthasana 1, we're trying to keep the hips still, the hip sits bones still flush with the mat. So if you feel like your left buttock and hip are coming up off the mat, take the leg further away from your face and bring it out at a different angle so that your hips can be square. But still begin to reach out through your left heel. Breathe, breathe, breathe here. Inhale into the back of the leg, the buttock, the left hamstring, the left calf and Achilles. And on your exhalation, just invite all of those muscles to surrender, relax. And if you feel as time moves on just a bit, as we stay in this pose, maybe, just maybe, you can draw your left leg more, just a micro movement toward your chest even more. Feeling a bit of more of a stretch without lifting your hip off of the mat. And take a nice deep inhalation. Your exhalation, take both pieces of the strap with the left hand, bring the right arm out to the side, And then begin to draw your left leg out toward the left. Do this slowly so that you can feel if your right hip begins to come up. The moment your right hip begins to come up is the moment when you stop trying to release to the left. Okay, so your right shoulder, right hip should still be on the mat. And then again, adjust your blankets to allow, or your blocks, to allow your foot to rest. Remember, this is resting, right? We're not trying to work in these poses today. We're trying to just relax and release in our practice today. Relax the right leg, keep the right hip and the right shoulder, just releasing into the surface below. You can keep your left foot flexed if you'd like, or just relax your strap a little bit, whatever feels yummy for you today. And really focus on the opening of the left inner thigh and groin, moving all the way into the inside of the knee, calf, just feeling that lovely opening. In this particular Supta Padangusthasana 2, I like to take a deep, deep breath into my hip crease or down into the inner groin. So see if you could take your breath that low. And as you exhale, imagining all of the hips just relaxing, the left inner hip, all the muscles within. There's so many tiny little muscles within the inner thighs. So the space in there. And I should actually say there's just all these connections, these tendons, and ligaments. And hopefully we begin to soften the muscle as we open those spaces and create this lovely stretching and lengthening and movement of the fascia, because we're moving into these asanas at such a slow pace and for quite a bit of a time. Take a nice deep inhalation, begin to, in your exhalation, draw your left leg up toward the ceiling. Take both pieces of the strap with the right hand, bring the left arm out to the left side. And now here's where we bend the right knee, bring the right foot to the mat, press into the right foot, turn your hips toward the right, and stack your left hip on top of your right. And then begin to draw your left leg over to the right. Extend your right leg, but just keep it nice and soft. So if you need to bend it a little bit to soften it, that's fine. And you want to keep the left shoulder still pressing, just releasing actually into the mat below. Supta Padangusthasana 3. And maybe one side is different than the other. Maybe this side is easier for you. feels so super yummy. Maybe the other side was torture. Our body tries to be equal, but oftentimes than not, we have imbalances. And we just draw observation from that with no judgment. And every day is different. So close your eyes here, relax, relax, relax into the right leg. Relax the left leg. Again, play with your flexed left foot. Maybe you want it flexed, maybe you don't. Maybe you just want it just completely chill. Soften your face, breathe into the tight, tense areas. So this is where we have all these little tiny muscles in the back of our hips. So in the hip area, the posterior side of our hips, in the buttocks, there's tiny muscles that help keep stability and movement within the hips. So this is where we tend to hold tension, or we are too lazy in our glutes. There's actually a lazy glute syndrome. You can look it up. But in this particular asana, the outer hips tend to be tight on people. So this is generally one that feels so yummy, especially if you do squats, a lot of squats in your other practices, in your cardio or weight training. So when you're at home practicing, doing this practice with me, or if you're in a class with me, hoping to do that, eventually we could go back to that maybe in some new normalcy. But I like to go around and release height on the block. If your foot is on a block or on a blanket, I'll maybe further into this, the longer we're into this pose, I'll ask my students if they would like me to release some height, because their muscles have softened a bit and they can maybe draw their foot deeper toward the surface below. So I say this so when you're practicing this video at home, know that you can always release the height and go further and deeper into the pose the longer we're in the pose. And take a nice deep inhalation. Let's begin to draw the left leg up, bend the right knee, bring the right foot to the mat, adjust the hips so now the back is flat. Release the left leg from the strap and bring the left knee to the chest, hug around the shin, take a breath here. Just feeling again the buttock and the hip. And now on your next exhalation, release the legs into extension. Draw the upper arms, rolling them away from the body. So feeling a nice open chest, and then just relax in this mini shavasana and draw attention once again to the entire lower half of the body. Perhaps you notice a difference from when you began your practice today. Perhaps you still feel an imbalance. Perhaps you feel no difference. Maybe you have lovely flexibility, but whatever you feel, just observe it without judgment. It just is. All right, we're going to take a nice inhalation, and we will bend the knees. Bring the right arm overhead, roll to the right side. And then go ahead and press yourself up to hands and knees. Alrighty, my friends. So we're on hands and knees here. So you can go ahead and maybe do a couple cat and cows if that feels yummy. And then we're going to walk the hands up toward the front of our mat. Take a nice deep inhalation. Your exhalation, draw your right knee toward your right wrist. If you have the capability of getting your shin parallel to the top of your mat, go ahead and do that. I actually don't have that capability, so my shin stays a little more bent at an angle, and I'm okay with that because I don't judge it. All right, if you feel as if your right hip in this sleeping swan pose tends to shift down and you're not parallel, you can bring support of a blanket underneath, and I'm just going to do that today so that you know how to do that. Take your back foot, tuck the toes, press the heel back, move the knee back even more, and then drop the knee so that you have a nice long left thigh muscle when we move into this. All right, before we come into the pose, have a blanket nearby in case you need some support. Take your arms alongside your knee, wherever it's at. Roll the upper arms from the inside out, which pulls the shoulder blades onto the back. And on your next exhalation, begin to draw your chest, bending the elbows back. Draw your chest toward the floor. And if you can, just drape over and bring your forehead onto the mat. Okay, and just relax here. Now, if you're super tight, you could be cursing me and not feeling like you can relax here. Just breathe into this as best as you can. Maybe you need a blanket to come up onto. So I'm going to demonstrate that as the rest of you move into this. So maybe you need to bring your forearms down and your forehead on a blanket, or using your bolster or a block or whatever prop that you may use in this particular pose. Okay, so this is what the pose looks like if you keep your forehead high and just kind of relax into the pose. And then maybe the longer we're here, maybe you can release your prop and come down even more, okay? Check in with your body. Check in with where you're feeling tightness. Maybe it's in the right outer hip. Breathe into the right outer hip. Imagine as you breathe, as you inhale, imagine all these beautiful, bright, red blood cells moving to that spot, all this nutrition. Okay, let's just pretend for a moment here. But imagine all this beautiful nutrient dense activity moving to that space. And then in your exhalation, imagine that space feeling alive but yet completely relaxed and soft and supple. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of muscles in an anatomy book, and when we look at those anatomy books or online, the muscles are always this beautiful, like pinkish red. So maybe you imagine that your muscle is just this vibrant, bright, beautiful red, pink hue. And that's what you're creating here in your softening and your lengthening. Just something to imagine and to think about. inhale, begin to come up. Using your hands, pressing yourself up, maybe on your elbows first and then your hands. We'll just take a breath with our chest high here and our arms to the side. And here's just a little thing I like to do. I like to take my hands alongside my knee and tuck my back toe. And you can either go into a child's pose to take a couple breaths, or I like to move into a down dog. Just because I feel I get a nice length in my spine there, and I just take a couple breaths in down dog. If you're in child's pose, really press away from your hands to feel the length in the spine. All right. And then on your exhalation, go ahead, bring the knees down if you were in down dog. If you were in child's, come up onto your knees. Walk your hands, a hand print toward the top of your mat. On your next exhalation, take your left knee to your left wrist. Have your shin either parallel to the front of the mat if you can, and if not, it's just going to be angled down. Take your back foot, tuck the toes, and begin to inch the toes away from the body, lengthening your right leg. And then reach the heel back a bit more, and then drop the knee down, okay? I like that little trick because you really feel the maximum length in that back leg when you tuck the toes, push the heel back, and then drop the knee down. Okay, once again, if you find yourself in a tilted position, in your sleeping swan, then grab your blanket and just go ahead and assist that hip. Give it some height, okay? Arms come to the side. Roll the shoulder blades onto the back by rolling the upper arms from the inside out. Take a nice deep inhalation here. On your exhalation, bend the elbows back, draw the breastbone forward, 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 forward. Reach the hands up if you'd like. Make a hand pillow, grab your prop, whatever you need to be on right now. And we're just gonna breathe here. And draw attention to the left outer hip. Once again, if there's tightness anywhere, we take nice, beautiful, deep inhalations, taking nutrients and breath and space to those areas. And on the exhalation, we give ourselves permission to soften. And like we've talked about before, this side might be different than the other. The best thing we can do for ourselves when we're doing these practices and we're in the asanas for a little bit more of time is to not go to that place where we might go to in our everyday life, which is, why am I so tight on this side? I can never do this. This is my worst side. I hate this side, or this, I'm never gonna get this darn pose, or, you know, these thoughts, okay, that we create, these little stories that we create. And the best thing we can do in our practice, in our breath, is to do what you're doing, which is breathing and focusing the breath on that space. And when you first get into the asana and you notice things, or it's not your favorite asana and you have to do it in a practice or a teacher, you're working through it and we create these stories, the best thing you can do is just observe what's there. So I'll give you an example. In this case, for me, my left side tends to be tight and much different than my right side. So rather than saying to you, my left side is my worst side, or questioning why always it is, or anything like that we tend to do, I just notice that A, there's a difference, and B, I observe it by, that's interesting. That's it. No other, I shouldn't even assign an adjective like that it's interesting, that side is interesting. You just say, all right? It's just the action of observing without A, reacting, B, judging. And then the last part of that that's critical is to not resist it. Okay? Just let it happen. Let it go. And I guess you can apply that to daily life as well. Take a nice deep inhalation. On your exhalation, begin to press yourself out of this lovely sleeping swan, if you will. Pigeon is what a lot of us call it too. So whatever you know it as. All right, so you're here. We're pausing here for a nice breath. And then I think this time I shall take my knees as wide as my mat, my toes together, and press back into Child's. I want everyone here in Child's, actually, if you can, if you want. And let's just press away nice and long first, like we're making this a working child's pose. And once we've lengthened the tailbone back and pressed away from our hands, our shoulders away from our ears, then go ahead and sink into child's pose. Just relax here. 2 more deep breaths. All right, let's for just a moment come up onto our heels, the knees bent. If you have really challenging knees, you can take a blanket right underneath the knee crease and come back. And we're just gonna do a nice inhalation here, and our exhalation, just twist toward your right. Inhale here, we'll twist to the left. And then we'll come up, and I would like for you, if you find yourself chilly in Shavasana, go ahead and put your socks back on. Get all cozy if you need a sweatshirt, because you actually did an amazing job today in your Your Yin Your Yin practice today. So now it's time for Shavasana with a bit of a guided meditation. So adjust into your Shavasana as yummy as you'd like to. Today I think I'll take the bolster and put the bolster under where my knees are, okay? And you'll go ahead and release back onto your elbows first, and then roll the upper arms from the inside out. Soften the face, the eyes, the eyelids. Allow the shoulders to release into the surface below, and allow the shoulders to move toward the feet, just so that you have a nice opening in your neck. Bring your chin slightly toward your chest. Take a really deep inhalation here. And on your exhalation, just go ahead and release all the weight of your body, your bones, your muscles, your tendons, your ligaments. Everything just sinks, sink, sink, sink into the earth on this beautiful Earth Day 2020. Continue your unique breath, allowing yourself to relax deeper and deeper with each breath. And begin to imagine that you're looking at yourself from above, seeing yourself lying on your mat. And just observe how you're lying on the surface, on the earth. And now really feel every part of your body that is connecting with the earth right now. Do this without tensing up, just taking those spaces that are connecting with the earth right now and seeing if you can allow them to move deeper and deeper into the surface below. Now imagine all of the places that are connecting to the earth right now are growing roots into the earth. So roots, the back of your heel, maybe the back of your calves and thighs, buttocks, low back, mid back, upper back, the length of your arms, the back of your hands, backs of your shoulders, and the base of your skull. All these roots are growing into the earth. And with each breath, they're growing deeper and deeper into the earth. And as the roots grow deeper, you have this beautiful, warm, bright sunshine warming your body, shining its light on the entire body. And you feel that warmth through your whole body. And now a gentle, light, soft mist that's warm actually begins to just gently mist over your body. And before you is this beautiful rainbow as the sun and the mist are on your body at the same time. The roots are growing deeper and deeper. And the mist The mist stops and the sun shines even brighter. And in that space, right underneath your breastbone, you feel the sprout. This beautiful sprout. Imagine the sprout from the breastbone beginning to press out from the body and move toward the light. This sprout is your intention, your deepest, most heartfelt, truest intention. Maybe you can place a word or a mantra, a phrase to that intention. And as the sun shines on it, the roots grow deeper and that intention grows taller and taller. Maybe it's even just something as simple as hope. Or peace. Or love. Feel that intention in that beautiful sprout that now is growing into this beautiful plant. A plant of your imagination that's bright and beautiful and just gets bigger and bigger and more beautiful. And feel that intention and that warmth and that light and those roots deep below in your intention. Take 3 deep breaths into that beautiful plant, tree, whatever you're imagining. 3 deep breaths into your intention. Inhaling and watching it grow. Exhaling and rooting the roots deep, deep within your body. Now return to your normal breath. Feel that intention once again in your heart center. Breathing your beautiful, unique breath into that space. Begin to bring consciousness back to your practice, your body, with gentle movements in your hands and your feet. Bend the knees, roll to the right side. Take a nice pause, nice deep, deep inhalation and exhalation to restore the body. And on your next inhalation, begin to press yourself into a comfortable seated position. The hands moving into prayer position at the heart center. Broaden the collarbones, lift through the crown of the head, dip the chin slightly. I thank you so very much for allowing me the honor to guide you through your Your Yin practice this morning. May you be strongly rooted and grow so very lovely in your purest intention today and all days. Namaste. Happy Earth Day. I hope you have a lovely day. Thank you for joining me. If you like these videos, please go on to, we're going to try slowly and surely, but put these videos on our YouTube channel. So Bend Yoga Center YouTube channel. Go ahead and subscribe. The more subscribers, the better for our opportunity to bring you more content. Thanks.